The way that I was cast in the movie Werewolves, I was co-starring in City on a Hill in season 1 with Kevin Bacon and Aldous Hodge. It was produced by Chuck McLean, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. You know, it was very strange. I had done the first season of City on a Hill, and, you know, I just wanted to show up and do a really good job, you know, be accountable and just be an actor. I didn't think beyond the show. I didn't think I was going to need another job afterward, or that, you know, that I wanted to act again. I had not acted really since my brother had passed away. And I felt that I was getting older, and if I didn't get my foot back into the acting ring, I was never going to get back in. So this opportunity came to be in City on a Hill, and I took it. And it was, you know, it was hard. It was a hard job because I had to travel to New York City. You know, I'm from Boston. Playing the character was not going to be difficult. But it was, you know, being at the level of a professional character actor. You know, I wanted to be at the level that when somebody saw me on the show, that I would get a better job. And that was my hope. And I had done season 1, and season 1 had come out, and, you know, a lot of people commented on, you know, my performance, which was good. The phone rang one day, and I had done season 2, and they had brought my character back for season 2. You know, COVID, everyone went a little crazy. And COVID, I gave myself a mohawk. Like, I just decided to, you know, shave my head into a mohawk. So I had done that. And I had no idea they were going to call me back to the show. So when I get called back, I didn't really know what to do with my hair. So I didn't do anything. So I show up with this mohawk. And they're like, Jimmy Cummings has a mohawk. So from what I understand, they call the producers up, and the producer's like, well, then you're going to have to shave his head. So at this point in season 1, I am the bad guy. So by season 2, I'm in jail. So season 2, I'm in jail. My head's completely shaved. I have a scar on my face because I've been there for a year. And Amanda Clayton, who plays Kathy, who was Jonathan Tucker's wife in City on a Hill, and it was just amazing because, you know, because of COVID, she didn't see me, I didn't see her before we shot the scene, and obviously in season 1 I had, you know, full head of hair, and I was, you know, in really good shape, and now season 2 I look a little emaciated. I've been in jail. I got a scar on my face, and I had a 4-minute scene. It was going to be the first scene of episode 3. So I knew that was my opportunity. That's the only time when my character was going to stand out, be alone, and I took it. So I worked really hard on that one scene, and sure enough, that City on a Hill had come out, that episode. My phone rang, and it was Craig Chapman. And he said, listen, man, I got this movie. I really want you to read it. It's called Werewolves. Well, actually, it was called Year 2 at the time. He's like, I really want you to read it. I think you'd be great in this movie. So I read the movie, and I wrote down a character's name I thought I could play. And I called him up. I said, which character are you thinking? And he said, Cody. And I went, yeah. He goes, why? I said, well, I wrote down the same thing. I go, but you got to change his name to Wolf Killer Cody Walker. Like, that was the one thing I said. And then he was like, well, look, man, let's meet on the movie. I mean, it's, you know, I've got Aaron Eckhart. You know, I've got the finance, I got all the money, but, you know, let's talk about it. So I went to his house, you know, in the backyard. He had, you know, a new house. He was redoing the house. Went out in the backyard. We had iced tea. And he told me about how he wanted to make this movie. He told me about his partner, Miles, and how Miles had, you know, held on to this script. It was written by Matthew Kennedy, and they were talking to Aaron Eckhart. It never worked out with Aaron Eckhart. So the money had fallen out because, you know, the money didn't follow. Craig Chapman had the money, and he was not putting a money behind a movie without a star. Miles reached out to Frank Grillo and gave him the screenplay. Frank Grillo read the screenplay, and he was in. So I get a call from Miles and Craig because they're like, Frank Grillo's, he's a real tough guy. And if you're going to be playing this character, you got to be intense, man. You have to look like you could go up against him. You have to look like you. And I'm like, guys, I can do that. They were like, you can do that? I said, oh yeah, I can do that. That's easy. It's called Johnny Drama. So I called Johnny Drama, and Johnny Drama had me go to Plymouth, Massachusetts, where I worked out with him for 6 weeks straight. And we did 6 days on, 3 on, 1 off, 2 hours in the gym, and all real current exercise. Everything you see Mark Wahlberg doing at the 4 a.m. hour, that's what Johnny Drama, that's what he's doing. He trained Mark Wahlberg from day one, and those two have got this incredible workout routine, and Johnny Drama does not stop. No matter where he is, he's up in the morning, he's off to the gym, he's making it happen. And if you want to work out with him, you got to do it his way. And I was like, all right, let's go do it. Did it before, let's do it again. So, yeah, Werewolves.